All right, we'll go ahead and call the July Planning and Zoning meeting to order. First item is to approve the June meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All right, let's vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right,
Passed.
minutes are approved. Next item is the staff report. Jack, what we got tonight?
Projects going on, under construction, still moving forward. The speaker isn't on, I apologize. Sorry for those folks on Zoom. Fairview Crossing North, obviously has one building open, and one of the other lots on the property is on tonight's agenda. Fairview Crossing itself, which was the first one we approved, but the second one it has started its construction. They're working on grading and stormwater stuff to take the road south out of Fairview North to open up the first lot for 64 townhomes on that area over there. That construction's moving forward. Anticipate potentially a subdivision and a rezoning up north for next month at W and, excuse me for the hiccups, at W and 169. New subdivision proposed to be Clay Creek Meadows with multifamily and single family houses on the Lake Meadow side, and duplex, triplex, fourplex, and fiveplexes in the rest of it up north. The current property is zoned B3, so they're going to be seeking to drop that down to R3 for the multifamily and R1D, which is the narrower lots, so they can get a little more houses on the sewer stuff, so it doesn't cost as much. Again, affordability becoming the issue. And that project may have our first national builder come in and take over that development after it's approved and constructed and just build houses. That may be happening. I don't know for sure. So things are changing kind of rapidly around. Should have the permit issued for the new donut shop down south in Fairview Crossing North at the north end of the strip mall. Should have construction plans for the strip center in Richardson Street Plaza, which this building would be on the west side of the post office, and you have seen and reviewed and approved that site plan already. They're finalizing a couple of details on stormwater that have to meet certain standards, and we're waiting for the final bid on that to get approved through our engineers and Chuck Public Works. And potentially development south of Wildflower may be coming sooner rather than later too. I don't know. We'll see. We've been talking about that one since 2018. So I think that's all. There are any other questions, I'll certainly answer them. If not.
Does anyone have any additional questions for Jack? All right, we will move on to item number 4, the site plan review for 14790 Fairview Drive. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve. Second.
All right, Jack, you want to offer some?
Sure. This one's pretty straightforward. You have the staff report included is the submission packet from the applicant. It includes the overhead layout. This process started 4 or 5 months ago with Nottoway Valley Bank's representatives at Gassinger Walker. They had a couple of layouts. We required some adjustment to ingress egress. If you look at page 3 of their plans, you'll see their first entrance is down there on the curve. They had it farther north. It didn't meet spacing and the like, and they graciously redesigned the whole darn thing and bought more land and everything to make it work. And all of this went through our review on the TIS and on the stormwater and met all of those standards. This building and project actually was reducing both. It, on the traffic side, theoretically could bump it up more depending on what happens on the lot to the south of it. But it's still within all of the traffic ranges that are in the approved traffic studies. And obviously, you've seen the building profile of what they propose it will look like, the materials, et cetera, the lighting. Excuse me. All of which, as shown in our staff report, meet our standards. Sorry. Spoke for an hour a while ago and didn't have one bit. Now I'm starting on a microphone and here it is. So staff's recommendation is approval, and I believe the applicant rep is here if you have any questions.
All right, does anyone have any thing to discuss, or are we good to approve this as is? We want to make any changes?
Jack, I have more of a generic question when it comes to traffic studies.
Mhm.
How does the bank or MoDOT calculate the impact of a business, a bank, a donut shop? Are there projections or
Yes.
total number of clients?
Yes, there is a national organization, I forget, International Traffic Engineers.
Yeah.
I think it's IT, the abbreviation is ITE. I think it's International Traffic Engineers. They have a book that is full of different uses, different and with very specific designations of the types of uses. And it gives you here's how many daily trips it'll generate, the peak hour, AM, peak hour, PM, based upon a bunch of data that they assemble. So yes, there is a book that they go to. And if, for example, we've had in the past, the new Dollar General, when they were proposing their layout and parking and all that, they had a bunch of their own data. Because if you've seen it, one Dollar General location, you've seen them all. So they know how they work, and they were able to provide data that said what they would do would work, and that's where we're at. It certainly does work. So, and we have the standards as we've discussed in the past, like with Mount Olivet, that this number of traffic has to impact. And if you reach a certain level, it triggers a full study. In this case, that study was done in 2022 with the original development stuff. So they did all those studies. They had estimates on it. The traffic study that was submitted, the traffic letter in this one, and wasn't a full study, was an evaluation of these uses versus what was proposed to be in the uses. And actually traffic went down substantially with this versus a 6,000 square foot building that would have been a retail facility. So we'll see what happens with the remaining portion of lot 2 and lot 3 when that sells, if that goes to a retail facility or if it goes to a restaurant, because those numbers are all impacted by square footage on restaurants, for example. So a bigger restaurant could fit on those 2 lots theoretically. And if it's a bigger restaurant, it could potentially throw traffic over. That'll be that group's baby to deal with. So, and same with stormwater. In this case, have all the calculations for the study of what was going to work. They built detention basin for that. And then based upon what was calculated in the original stuff of the conceptual plan work, they compare it to where they're at. They've actually reduced stormwater as well. Not as much impervious area. So,
Thank you.
sure.
All right, does anyone else have anything to add? All right, let's vote.
Rob,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Mayor Boley,
Aye.
5-0.
This item will be on the the Board of Aldermen agenda next Tuesday night, same time, 7 PM. And it'll be a resolution, so it can be approved by the board in one meeting.
All right. Next item will be the item number 5, street designation and name changes discussion. Do we need a motion on that or are we just having a discussion?
Yeah, no, actually, I put the title together with a memo
Yeah.
the
Motion
day
to,
after.
Oh.
So yes, if we can have a motion to make recommendations and then we'll go through the discussion and make those.
All right, do we have a motion to
So
make
moved.
first? Okay,
Second.
okay. All right,
that
Jack,
last one, so.
do you want to
Yeah.
start up?
Staff report lays everything out as as Melissa predicted at the last meeting. We were able to find a few more than the ones we mentioned, specifically Fifth Street Circle up north. And I hope it's clear by the staff report here. I tried to put the area in a picture plus in shots of each plat involved. These are old plats. The first one on here was in McComas Acres, and you can see it's got Fifth Street up north on the north end of it. And then later Weatherstone came in and it changed Fifth Street from spelled to the number and then added Street Circle. So to avoid that confusion of Street Circle, et cetera, staff's recommendation on this one would be to change Fifth Street Circle to FIFTH Fifth and then Circle. That way we keep the name roughly the same, but we make them consistent. And we don't have multiple it's like Fifth Street Circle, Fourth Street Terrace. You can see on the bottom of those, those are the issues that we're trying to resolve. And also the fourth or fifth and 5TH, to eliminate the confusion or any potential issues with 911 addressing. The older numbered streets that are single digits, we have them all in Word format instead of numerical. And then all the other streets should be numerical, the 3-digit, 188th, 132nd, whatever. So recommendation on that one is Fifth Circle. Alternatively, you could do Fifth Drive. It wouldn't matter because no one lives here. That's a approved plat that's been recorded. No streets are in, no utilities are in. It's there and it can be developed in the future with utility improvements, et cetera. It just eliminates the problem in the future. We've got the name corrected now.
Yeah, so it looks like just in 88, they tried to save some money on signs. Change it to the numbers.
Yeah, I would guess. I don't. And 98% of Weatherstone didn't get developed, so.
Yeah,
Um,
Weatherstone sounds like Old Rock, John.
Yeah.
Sounds like Old Rock Road.
and then the next one is Fourth Street Terrace. It shows up on the first page, but I've showed it again on the second because it actually was the one that started the odd namings. Walker's Addition was in 55, and it was Fourth Street Terrace. And then McComas added to it with Fourth Street Terrace again, and then Weatherstone again abbreviated to 4TH. And staff recommendation on this is to make all of them spelled out Fourth and Terrace to eliminate any confusion. It won't impact any of the neighbors substantially because all of them have to use Terrace anyway. So we're just taking out the street, which confuses things. That's staff's recommendation. Same thing with Third Street. You'll see in Walker's Addition, Third Street Terrace again, and then Weatherstone came in and did 3RD Street Terrace, spelled them out this time completely. None of those roads in Weatherstone are constructed. That's no impact. It would impact the 8 lots, 7 lots, 8 lots on the west side of Spellman by changing the name from Third Street Terrace to Third Terrace. Again, not a significant impact to any of the existing neighbors or property owners. The other one, the next one is commercial. Commercial has 3 names in town on various plats. It goes from Commercial Avenue downtown where it started. It became Commercial Street at some point. There's no direct history as to when, why, or how that occurred. However, Commercial's location where it sits now was the original location of the Jefferson Highway. Jefferson or Lincoln? Jefferson Highway, sorry. And it went up from basically 169, turned and went up Commercial all the way. It shows on some of that stuff that it was Commercial Street there. I don't know when, where, why, and how. I do know that Commercial Avenue was the first one. And as some of the plats came in along Commercial, one of them changed it to Drive, said it's Commercial Drive. Staff's recommendation is, well, we'll leave it up to you to decide, but it either needs to become, in our recommendation, either Commercial Avenue throughout or Commercial Street throughout. Our recommendation here is to do Commercial Avenue because that's how it started when it was in the city. The original plat of town had it as Commercial Avenue. The second plat in town, just south of it, had it as Commercial Avenue. Thereafter, it became street. Many of those lots were unplatted. So that if they're not platted, they don't have to do all the street stuff. That's why the road's curvy and all that. And they just built a house along them as they went. Years later, additional lots were split. So that unplatted ground would be split. And then when you get south of 92, that was almost all was done by plats. They put it in later. All of it named street. Commercial then turns from a north-south street at Shamrock and becomes an east-west street. And then it runs from there all the way over to its terminus over by the dental office on the west side of the highway. Anytime you have the same street going north-south and east-west, the numbering system for the streets gets a little wonky. We've had this problem in other areas that we've had to address. To the extent that Commercial, and I'm just going to call them Commercial until we figure out the name later, Commercial from Shamrock to the end of its terminus on the west, to the extent that there's literally one business addressed off of it, I don't see the significant impact to it of changing that name to 148th. The other aspect of changing it to the 148th is it puts it into perspective for people coming here from Kansas City of how far they are from the center of Kansas City. So 132nd, 144th, we now have 147th Street that comes out just south of Central Bank. This would be 148th. And as we go farther north, the other streets pick up. All new developments are all 5-digit number addresses if they're on 169, which is why, for example, the Price Chopper place up there, it's all 15700. That's 157th Street. Hospital Drive would be 157th Street. So that's the purpose of changing that one. And then we would leave it up to you to do either Commercial Avenue or Commercial Street to make it consistent. And then we would change those signs over time. It wouldn't be an overnight deal. It just eliminates any further confusion. And that's all of them. There are 5 total. They would go to the board as 5 separate recommendations. 5th, 4th, 3rd, Commercial North-South, and Commercial East-West. So.
As far as commercial, or not commercial, 5th,
Mhm.
I think I would recommend 5th Circle over 5th Drive, because I think 5th Drive would go, when in my thinking, it'd be a thorough street to where Circle tells me that it's what it is.
Yep.
So, since that's what
Either
we're gonna do.
circle or drive would meet the standard convention of what a circle or a drive is.
Hmm.
So,
Circle defines it a
Yeah.
little more.
well, the other aspect it is, it's already Fifth Street Circle, so keeping it makes sense. Just dropping the street
Mhm.
and changing it to FIFTH. Okay,
I think it's a road that doesn't exist and John's always wanted Old Rock Road, so just name it that. So it's a good placeholder and it's there on the books.
I'm down for that. I think that's a good idea.
I mean,
I-
no, to
there's
make
a
a
lot-
sign.
There's a lot of folks in the community that have been wanting to support that. And I think that
Got a
would be,
proclamation for it and everything.
so I guess, do we need to motion or to make?
yeah,
that
if you
change?
want to change the staff recommendation, you certainly can do that.
All right,
Um,
then I'll make a motion to change that to Old Rock Road.
Second,
Old Rock Road.
Fifth Street.
the
Circle.
Fifth Street Circle.
It's it's Weatherstone, it's a platted street that hasn't been constructed.
And we're sticking with the stone theme and the rocks. And this is a very geologically active region.
Yeah.
All right, so do we need to vote on the motion as amended? Or vote on the amendment first?
Well, we can actually do each of them, each recommendation for each street separately. So this one would be,
Yeah,
it's
for
been
sure.
moved and seconded for Old Rock Road. So Fifth Street Circle would be changed to Old Rock Road as the motion. And second. That make sense? You got it that way? Okay.
you
Yeah,
need a voice
okay.
vote or is it roll call? Should just be voice vote on these.
I would think it's going to the board as a resolution. So it's not a huge zoning issue either. So.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Okay, 4-1.
Is that no, you're not opposed or no?
no.
Just,
I-
yeah, I'm
the
kidding.
Circle.
He
I'm
thinks it's
overroad-
ridiculous.
I'm overloaded, so.
If it ever gets built while you're still around, we'll reconsider it. We'll reconsider it. We might name it Wilson Avenue at that point.
Well, we vacated, we had a Wilson Avenue and vacated it,
There we
Several
go.
years ago.
Wilson
although
Boulevard.
it was a short street in the middle of the housing authority, so. The next one would be Fourth Street Terrace. Staff's recommendation is to make them consistent with Fourth spelled out and Terrace, eliminating street.
Do we need an exact motion to do that, or can we use the previous one that we?
Well, I think we need to have a motion to name, to name it whatever in a second, and we'll get a vote. Since all of these are going to be separate resolutions before the board, I think it's tidiest to have separate.
Okay, do we have anyone would like to make the motion, make that change?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? 5-0.
And the next one is Third Street Terrace. Staff's recommendation is to keep it spelled out Third and eliminate the street and just make it Third Terrace.
So moved.
second,
Let's vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Why not?
You're opposed?
Yeah.
Okay, 4-1.
Follow Melissa's lead.
okay.
The next one's Commercial Avenue or Street. And this would be from Church Street on the north to Shamrock Way on the south.
A motion for that.
I have a question real quick on that.
Mhm.
Doesn't Avenue have a specific name?
They all do.
I mean, different from City Street or?
Yeah.
When you think of an avenue as a.
And in some parts it is very broad. So it could be avenue or street. Boulevard would be the one I would consider as the widest. Then
I like
avenues-
Avenue for commercial, it's fine. I mean,
And that's what it was named initially. So
Yeah.
that was staff's logic in getting there with
Yeah.
making it Commercial Avenue. Yep.
All right, so do we have a motion?
So moved.
Let's vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 5-0.
And the last one is staff's recommendation is to change the name of commercial from Shamrock Way West to its terminus on the west side of the highway there, to 148th Street.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and I don't know, this one might be a little more controversial in some of them. Does anyone have any further thoughts on this one? Okay, let's vote.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? 5-0.
These will all be on the board's agenda next week.
So Jack, this leads me, got me to thinking more. So you just mentioned Hospital Drive, Richardson, several other east-west. Do those need to be considered to be changed to numbered streets as well?
We
But
have
then we
to-
run into an issue with Main Street.
We gotta annex hospital first. Part of that's still not ours.
Yeah, well, the big, and the big, yeah, the bigger thing with Hospital Drive changing it, or even Richardson, is we've got a lot of businesses or people on that. And the greater impact for changing it, especially with hospital, which is just one block long.
Yeah.
You know, that's been Hospital Drive since it was created by the hospital years ago.
Is Hildebrand addressed off that or 169?
They're off of Hospital Drive. I think
Okay.
all of them are, yeah.
Those three, the house,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, the house and the Baptist Center
yep.
and.
It
then-
just got me to thinking, you know, just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
But that's okay.
Going forward though, east-west road is gonna be numbered.
For example, if and when we ever get Pope Lane constructed all the way through, staff's recommendation is change it all to 172nd because it is on the 172nd
Yeah.
line.
Is that something that we should probably think about doing now? Just have it ready to go, or?
I think that that will be a part of the project when it goes,
Okay.
that we, before it's finalized, obviously the plan's gonna identify here's where the signs go, et cetera. I think it needs to be changed formally by then.
Okay.
But that may be a few more years down the road.
All right, if you have nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Yes.
4-1.
3 no's in the meeting.
We're adjourned.